I came home on a Tuesday, early. A dog surgery was canceled, and for once, I had time to pick up my daughter from piano myself. But Claire had already done it. The driveway was packed with cars. Claire's mother's Lexus. Marcy's Jeep. One more I didn't recognize. I parked at the curb. Didn't rush. Something in the air was wrong. My house, my quiet colonial in Chester, Virginia, wasn't supposed to feel like a setup. And yet the blinds in the front room were closed, which Claire never did during the day. The house wasn't just full, it was closed off. I walked in through the side door. I didn't call out. I didn't have to. The voices were all gathered in the den, and they stopped when the lock clicked behind me. That kind of silence doesn't come from surprise. It comes from guilt. Claire sat on the armrest of the couch. Her mother Diane was perched stiffly beside her, as if posing for a deposition. Marcy and her husband Travis sat on the other side, eyes on me but not really looking. My daughter Holly was upstairs. I heard the faint click of her iPad from her room. The only empty seat was a kitchen chair dragged into the circle. That one was mine. I didn't take it. I leaned against the entryway, arms crossed. No one spoke. Claire cleared her throat. Eric, we were waiting for you. I have something to share. Then share. She blinked. She didn't expect me to be this direct. Marcy and Travis, they've been trying to have a baby for years. IVF hasn't worked. The medications were brutal on Marcy's system. They're emotionally and financially exhausted. I looked at Marcy. Her hands were folded tight in her lap. She wasn't crying. Yet, Claire kept talking. We talked about adoption, but the wait lists are long. Agencies, well, they're complicated. So I thought, maybe there's another way. I didn't move. Just listened. Claire continued. I've already had one healthy pregnancy. I'm still in good shape. My blood work's clean. I offered to carry for them. Silence. I let it sit, just to watch them sweat. Then I said, you offered. She nodded, but not fully. More like a twitch. And I'm just hearing this now because? Diane jumped in like it was her cue. Eric, this is a beautiful gesture. Your wife wants to help her best friend. What's more noble than that? What's more noble, I said slowly, than offering your uterus to someone without mentioning it to your husband? Travis shifted. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Claire avoided my eyes. I stepped forward once. How exactly was this supposed to happen? More silence. Claire's foot tapped once against the hardwood, then stopped. I asked again. IVF? A clinic? Or? And that's when I saw it. Diane's expression twisted into something proud and smug. Like she'd rehearsed her line. We're doing it the natural way, she said. There it was. Not just betrayal. Premeditated, calculated betrayal. I looked directly at Claire. Define natural, I said. My voice didn't rise. I didn't blink. Claire's voice was thin now. We thought it would be less invasive. I laughed once. Short. Cold. You mean cheaper. You mean easier for Travis. No one denied it. I turned to Marcy. You're okay with this? She didn't answer. Didn't even try. Then I looked back at Claire. So you plan to sleep with another man, in our bed, or his, doesn't matter? And I'm supposed to what? Hold your hand through it. Her jaw clenched. We thought you'd understand, she said quietly. I took a breath. It tasted like smoke. No, I said. You thought I'd tolerate it. I walked to the edge of the room, past Diane, who shrank back slightly. I opened the closet, pulled out a folder, one she thought I'd never use, and came back. Claire's face lost what little color it had. I want every person in this room to hear me, I said, flipping open the file. There will be no child. There will be no surrogate. And if you touch this man even once, this folder goes straight to my lawyer. The house, the clinic, the land, they're mine. You get nothing but your natural experience. Understood. Claire's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I looked at her the same way you look at a stranger who's trying to borrow money. This conversation's over, I said. Then I left the room. Not because I was angry. Because I was done. The morning after, she made French toast. 2 cups of coffee. Creamer already stirred into mine. Just the way I used to take it. We hadn't spoken a word after the family summit. She tried to act like it hadn't happened. But I don't forget. And I don't pretend. Holly came down the stairs in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes, and Claire kissed her on the head like nothing was wrong. I sat across the kitchen island and watched. Watched how Claire kept adjusting the plate like the edges of the toast mattered. Watched how she overcompensated with smiles. She wasn't trying to fix anything, she was trying to bury it. I'll take her to school, I said flatly. Claire nodded too quickly. Of course. At the clinic, between surgeries, I opened the back end of our CRM. Most people think of client data, invoices, vaccination schedules. But we also archive device activity, including every message sent or received through connected employee phones. Claire's was connected. Her admin privileges meant full sync. She signed the release form when we launched the system. She never thought I'd use it against her. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for clarity. The archive loaded. A group chat called Project Baby. Participants: Claire, Diane, Marcy, Travis. First message timestamp: 3 months ago. That's how far back the betrayal ran. First few days were chatter. Suggestions. Links to fertility blogs. Discussions about hormone treatments. But it escalated quickly. Diane was the one who first said the words, and I read them twice just to be sure. It needs to be real, not medical. The child should come from something natural. That's how you bond. No one disagreed. Claire responded 2 days later. Travis and I have talked. He's willing. I'm fertile in 2 weeks. If Eric's still distracted, it'll be easy. I leaned back in my chair. Not angry. Focused. The logs included voice notes. I downloaded one. Claire's voice. Calm, practical. If Eric finds out too soon, it complicates everything. Let me handle the timing. I know how to steer him. I clicked the second. Travis this time. We do this quick and clean. Marcy doesn't want to know details. She just wants the result. I copied the files to a flash drive. No commentary. No overthinking. At lunch, Claire texted. Do you want steak tonight? I replied. We'll see. Later that night, while Holly did her math homework and Claire folded towels like a housewife in a commercial, I reviewed every bit of the chat log. There was no hesitation in her tone. No guilt. This wasn't emotional. This was transactional. Clinical. Efficient. At 10:20 p.m., she knocked on my office door. I didn't answer. She opened it halfway. Eric. I just want to say, yesterday came out wrong. I turned to face her. Wrong how? I asked. She hesitated. It's not about cheating. I'd never betray you. I just wanted to help. I nodded. By having sex with another man. Her mouth opened. Closed. We hadn't done anything yet. I repeated. Thanks for the update. She stepped back, blinking. I'm going to bed, she said. I know. The door clicked shut. I made 3 backups of the chat log. 1 in a safe. 1 at the clinic. 1 at the bank deposit box under a business account she didn't know I'd reopened. This was no longer about love. This was war. The next 48 hours were logistical. I didn't argue. Didn't accuse. I just moved in silence. Every spare moment at the clinic, I documented. WhatsApp chats. Voice recordings. Calendar events. Receipts. Her search history. I found a draft document on her cloud titled Consent Template Surrogacy. It wasn't signed, but Travis's name appeared as the father. That wasn't a hypothetical. That was intent. I kept the originals and exported duplicates. 1 batch encrypted and uploaded to a remote server under my veterinary supplier's login. Another burned to a disk and locked in the desk drawer at home. I labeled it innocently. Inventory Archives Q1. Claire didn't ask questions. She thought I was sulking. She interpreted my silence as defeat. I wanted her to believe that. On Friday, she had lunch with Diane. I verified their reservation through the restaurant's site using Claire's confirmation email. It gave me 3 hours alone at the house. I went through her desk. Nothing new there. But in the medicine cabinet, I found something that shifted the air. A hormone injection pen, unopened. Branded for ovarian stimulation. Prescribed last month. She was prepping her body already. Claire had always been cautious. She'd triple-check expiration dates on milk. Now she was injecting herself with hormones behind my back. When Holly came home that afternoon, I was still reviewing files on my laptop. She dropped her backpack, took a juice box from the fridge, and climbed onto the stool beside me. Daddy? She asked. Yeah, Bug. Are you leaving again this weekend? No, I said. Why? She took a sip, then looked down at her socks. Mom said maybe Mr. Travis will stay over if you go to the conference. She said he'd be in the guest room. I froze. Not visibly. Just enough to commit that sentence to memory. She said that. Holly nodded. She said don't tell you because it's a surprise. I nodded back. Thanks for telling me. Want to go play your game? She beamed. Yeah. She ran upstairs, and I stared at the wall for a long time. Not because I was confused. Because the clock had started. Claire wasn't waiting for permission. She was staging her own timeline. trying to turn deception into routine. That night, she cooked pasta, made a salad, wore perfume. I let her play the role. Over dinner, she asked, "How's the clinic?" "Busy," I said. "Lot of emergencies lately." She smiled. "You need a break. Maybe that vet conference in Raleigh next month?" There it was. Her pitch. I nodded. "I might go. I'll confirm Monday." She looked relieved. It was subtle, only someone who knew her rhythm would have caught the shift in her shoulders. She was already preparing for his visit. I spent the weekend finalizing my documentation. My lawyer, Dana Klein, didn't know yet, but I'd worked with her before during a supplier dispute. She was efficient, discreet, and ruthless when needed. I wrote a cover memo, dates, names, evidence list. Sunday night, I signed the retainer agreement and scanned it in. I didn't send it yet. Let her think she still had control. Because the moment she reached for Travis, not just emotionally, not just medically, but physically, I'd hit send. And she'd never see it coming. She waited until Sunday evening to say it. The whole week she'd been tiptoeing, planning, pretending she was too tired to talk. But the signs were clear. The closet rearranged, a new travel bag under the bed, prescription refills collected, a waxing appointment discreetly added to her shared calendar. We were finishing dinner, baked salmon, a bit overcooked, likely on purpose. Holly had gone upstairs, headphones on, watching cartoons in her room. Claire leaned on her elbows and finally spoke. "I've decided to go stay with Marcy next week. Just for a few days. She's feeling off lately, and she asked if I could be there." I didn't lift my eyes from my plate. "Travis will be there?" She hesitated. "No. Well, maybe. He's traveling for work, but he might come back midweek." "She's not sure yet." "How convenient," I said. She frowned. "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that." Her expression flattened. "She needs me." "I'm sure she does." Claire reached for her wine. "I know you're still angry, Eric, but we've talked about this. You said you'd think." "I have. And I've made my decision." She looked up now slowly. "Which is?" "You go there," I said, "and you don't come back." Her eyebrows twitched, just a flicker. "You'd really throw away a 10-year marriage over something I haven't even done?" "No," I said. "You already threw it away. I'm just clearing the table." She leaned back, the wine untouched. "You think this is easy for me?" "I think you've made it very easy for yourself." Claire's voice dropped half a note, like she was adjusting strategy. "It's not a fling, Eric. It's a gift. I'm trying to give them a chance at something they can't have without help." I didn't respond. "They've tried everything," she continued. "They've gone through 4 cycles. The hormones destroyed her for a year. They're at the end. You want to help them?" I asked. "Write a check. I'll co-sign." She laughed once, sharp. "So that's it. Money is the only thing that makes sense to you." "No," I said. "It's the only thing you haven't lied about." She went quiet. I stood up, took the plates to the sink, rinsed them without looking back. The faucet was still running when she finally asked, "Have you already called someone?" "Yes." "Who?" "Dana Klein." Claire scoffed. "She charges $900 an hour. She earns it. She's your corporate counsel, Eric. She won't take divorce work." "She already did." Silence again. I turned and faced her. "You remember the CRM system I installed? The one you agreed to sync with your phone for scheduling?" She blinked, slow. "All those messages," I said. "The group chat. The appointment notes. Voice memos. You waived consent on collection when you signed the system use form." Claire stood now. Her voice lost its chill. "You're telling me you were spying on me?" "No. I was auditing my own system. Just happened to find something useful." She stared at me. "This is what you've become? You want to go to court? Drag me through a custody case in front of Holly? If you leave this house next week and go anywhere near Travis, yes." She crossed her arms, defensive now. "You'll traumatize her. You'll be the one who explains why mommy moved in with another man to make him a baby." Claire flinched at that. First time I'd seen her break since the beginning. "You think this is revenge?" she said, voice low. "No," I said. "This is defense. I won't go down easy. I'm counting on it." She paused, studied me. "What if I don't go?" "Then we talk," I said. "Real talk. With a mediator. Not this staged empathy performance you've been running. And if I change my mind? You do it before Friday." She nodded once, very slight. "You've been planning this the whole time, haven't you?" "I don't plan," I said. "I prepare." She walked out of the kitchen without another word. No slam of the door. No stomp on the stairs. Just the quiet realization that she was no longer holding the leash. And I wasn't done tightening mine. She left the house at 8:12 a.m. on Friday. I stood by the window, watching as she wheeled her luggage down the walk and loaded it into the back of her car. She didn't say goodbye, didn't text, didn't knock on the office door to tell me she'd be back in a week. Just got in and drove off like she was heading to a retreat. I waited exactly 7 minutes. Then I opened the locked drawer, pulled out the folder, and called Dana. "She's gone," I said. Dana didn't ask where. She didn't need to. "You want to serve her now?" "Yes." "At her destination." "Perfect," she said. "Couriers on standby. Deliver to the house. Not directly to her. Let them all see it." "You want the full exposure," she said. It wasn't a question. "I want the narrative reset. No more of her version floating around." Consider it done. Within the hour, the courier had the petition in hand. 43 pages. Everything documented. Chat logs, hormone prescriptions, calendar records, CRM system metadata, and one concise affidavit from me. At 12:37 p.m., I received the confirmation. Claire Halstead, served at 11:58 a.m. Witnessed by Marcy Fenwick and Travis Fenwick. That's when the phone started ringing. First it was Diane. 3 calls in a row, all ignored. Then Marcy. Then her sister. Then her sister's husband. Claire hadn't even processed the document yet, and already the panic was setting in. I wasn't answering. I was too busy sending. I drafted one email. BCC'd every member of Claire's family, parents, siblings, 2 close cousins, even her Aunt Ruth who always hosted Easter. Subject line. In case you're hearing only one version. Attached were 4 things. Screenshots of the Project Baby WhatsApp group. Voice memo transcript where Claire confirmed her cycle window. Copy of the signed CRM system consent form. My retainer letter with Dana, dated 2 weeks earlier. No commentary. No venom. Just data. Clinical. Undeniable. By 2 p.m., the group chat Diane had created years ago for holiday planning was flooded. First, her brother posted, "What the hell is this?" Then her cousin, "Is this real?" Then silence. No one defended her. No one blamed me. Because there was nothing left to explain. Around 5 p.m., I picked up Holly from her friend's house. She'd had no idea what was happening, and that was the point. She chatted about art class while I made her mac and cheese. She didn't ask about Claire, and I didn't offer. At 6:42 p.m., Claire called. I answered. "You served me?" she asked. Her voice wasn't angry. It was confused. Like she truly couldn't believe she'd been cornered. "Yes." "You really went through with it?" "Yes." "I told you we hadn't done anything yet. I told you that didn't matter." She was quiet for a long time. "You blindsided my whole family." "No," I said. "You did. I just gave them the receipts. You could have talked to me first." "I did." "You packed anyway." She exhaled. I could hear muffled voices in the background. Probably Marcy crying. Probably Travis trying to stay invisible. Then Claire said, "We can fix this." "No, we can't." "You're really divorcing me over this?" I waited a second before answering. Just enough to make sure I wasn't reacting. I was delivering. "I'm not divorcing you over this," I said. "I'm divorcing you because you thought you could get away with it." I ended the call. Later that night, Diane showed up at the house. She didn't knock, just stormed through the front door like she still had a role in this. "You think this is going to help Holly?" She snapped. "She's asleep," I said. "Keep your voice down. She's going to grow up in a broken home because you couldn't be a man and let your wife help someone." "No," I said. "She's going to grow up in a house where no one lies to her." Diane's face twisted. She was trying to do something selfless. Then why did she hide it? She didn't have an answer. I pointed at the door. "You have 3 seconds." Diane didn't move. 1. Still nothing. 2. She turned and walked out without another word. I locked the door behind her and turned off the porch light. Claire's things were still in the master closet, her side of the bed untouched. But the room already felt empty. Not because she'd left. Because I'd finally shut the door behind her. Claire stayed at Marcy's for 4 more days. Not because I asked her to. Because she didn't know how to come back. Her lawyer finally called Dana. They wanted to talk settlement terms. That told me everything. Claire wasn't fighting the facts. She was trying to negotiate the optics. Dana handled the numbers. I focused on the terms. I wanted 3 things. 1. Full residential custody of Holly. 2. Exclusive ownership of the clinic and the land under it. 3. Irreversible medical sterilization, signed and confirmed, before I agreed to delay the divorce filing. I didn't expect her to accept the third. That was the pressure valve. The message came through that evening from Claire herself, not through the lawyer. I'm willing to consider what you proposed, but I want to see you first. In person. Without lawyers. Just us. I didn't reply. Not immediately. She came back the next night. Alone. No luggage. Just a manila envelope in her hand. Her face looked tight, like she hadn't slept. I let her into the kitchen but didn't offer her a chair. You really want me to get sterilized? She asked. Yes. For what? For the privilege of coexisting in this house until Holly graduates. Claire sat down, uninvited. She looked older, not fragile, just worn. You're asking me to give up everything, she said. No. I'm asking you to own what you've already destroyed. She slid the envelope across the table. I didn't open it yet. They scheduled the procedure, she said. I'll do it next Tuesday. Outpatient. I want the full report sent to Dana. She nodded once. You really hate me that much? No, I said. If I hated you, I wouldn't bother setting terms. I'd let the system devour you. We sat in silence for a while. She finally asked the question she'd been circling. After the procedure, is there any chance we come back from this? I didn't answer right away. I just opened the envelope and glanced at the paperwork. Date, hospital, surgeon's name. It was real. No, I said. Her breath caught, just slightly. There's no forgiveness? This isn't about forgiveness, I said. It's about containment. I don't want you touching anything that can collapse again. She blinked, once. Did you ever love me? I did, I said. Enough to expect better. She nodded slowly. And now? Now, I said, you're a person I co-parent with. Nothing more. Claire stood, her hands still on the table. You're cold, she said. You're calculated, I replied. You just lost to someone who's better at it. She left without another word. The next few weeks were quiet. Legal documents moved back and forth. Dana finalized the asset protections. Holly's school was informed discreetly about the custody update. I took over mornings and pickups. Claire got Tuesday dinners and every other weekend. Nothing more. Marcy sent a letter. Not to apologize, to explain. She said Claire had promised her a way out of infertility, and when that crumbled, so did her mental state. Travis, according to her, had moved into a hotel and wasn't returning texts. None of it concerned me. Claire completed the procedure. I received the medical summary through Dana. Tubal ligation. Permanent. We didn't celebrate. We didn't talk. We simply moved forward, like two professionals dividing a business after the bankruptcy. That weekend, Holly asked, is Mom okay? She's okay, I said. She just needs some time. She cries a lot, she said. I paused. Does she say anything when she cries? Just that she wishes things were different. I nodded. Some things, once done, can't be undone. Holly thought about that. Will she ever live here again? No, I said. But you'll always have a place with both of us. And that was the only promise I could still make and keep. The auditorium was packed with folding chairs and restless kids in paper hats. Holly's class had worked on the spring program for weeks. Claire arrived right before it started, in a pale blue dress she hadn't worn since the year we bought the house. She looked soft, polished, measured. The mask was back on. I stayed near the aisle, center row, beside the other parents, mostly couples, mostly smiling. Claire sat on the far end, 3 chairs over. She waved at Holly when she walked onto the stage. I didn't. The music started. Children sang off-key, fidgeting through the verses. Somewhere behind me, Diane whispered, just look at them, like nothing ever happened. She was wrong, of course. Everything had happened. That's why I chose this day. At the end of the performance, Holly spotted me and ran down the stairs into my arms. I hugged her, tight but calm. Good job, Bug, I said. Did you like the rainbow song? I did. Claire approached, smiling too wide. I saved her a cookie, she said, holding out a napkin. I took it without responding. Diane hovered close, trying to reinsert herself. Eric, she said, maybe we could all go to lunch? For Holly's sake. Claire looked at me, expectant. A flicker of hope beneath the performance. That's when I opened my bag. Inside was a black folder, plain, professional. I pulled it out slowly and handed it to Claire. What's this? She asked, already frowning. Your final copy, I said. Separation agreement, notarized. Effective Monday. She glanced inside and froze. You said we were delaying it. I said we'd delay the filing while terms were negotiated. They're done now. You already signed this. I did. And so did Dana. You'll find the custody calendar, your access schedule, and the trust set up for Holly's tuition. People around us had started to notice. Parents glanced sideways. A teacher offered Claire a weak smile and stepped back. She hissed, voice low, "You're doing this here?" "Yes," I said, "because this is the only time you don't get to rewrite the scene." Diane sputtered. "This is inappropriate." "No," I said. "What you orchestrated, the natural conception farce, that was inappropriate. This is closure." Claire's hand shook slightly as she gripped the folder. "You're humiliating me in front of our child." I turned to Holly, who was now standing with one of her classmates, unbothered. "She's not watching," I said. "And this isn't humiliation. This is clarity." Claire's voice cracked. "You can't just end it like this. After everything." I cut her off, quiet and final. "You ended it the moment you scheduled your ovulation around another man." She stared at me, stunned. "I let you think you had time," I said. "But this scene, this act, this version of yourself? It ends now." Diane stepped forward. "You're cruel." I turned my head slowly. "No, Diane. I'm exact." Claire looked down at the folder in her hands, then at me. "What do I do now?" "You follow the schedule. You pick her up on Tuesdays. You show up for every other weekend. You stop pretending this can be salvaged." "And us?" she asked, voice almost gone. "There is no us." For a second, I saw it. The collapse. The realization that no amount of charm or tears or carefully worded messaging would fix what she'd broken. Around us, other families moved toward the exit, their goodbyes light, distracted. I walked Holly to the car. Claire didn't follow. As we pulled out of the school parking lot, Holly asked, "Is Mommy okay?" I kept my eyes on the road. "She's figuring things out. Are we still a family?" "We always will be," I said. "Just a different kind now." And as I turned left onto the main road, I didn't look back, because there was nothing left to retrieve.